How's everyone doing? Today I have a huge 4K Ultra HD update, and if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them and which one of these is your favorite, and what movies you'd like to see released on 4K Ultra HD coming in the future. And I've gotten some comments from people in Australia who I guess 4K really isn't big there anymore. I'm sorry to hear that for you guys, but I think in every other country 4K is going strong. Essentially every new big release is getting a 4K Ultra HD release, and a lot of catalog titles are getting 4K Ultra HD releases too. And I definitely think it is a noticeable difference in a lot of titles on 4K Ultra HD, including one that I'll mention coming up soon. But yeah, I think it's if you're a fan of cinema and viewing and home video, you'll definitely appreciate it. Shallows was one that really kind of brought me into it. I watched the Blu-ray edition of it first, and then I watched the 4K Ultra HD, and the clarity was so much better in the 4K Ultra HD. And a big thing is HDR, high dynamic range. So you definitely want to have those capabilities to get the best out of the performance of these 4K Ultra HD discs. But let's go ahead and get into them. First up is Paramount's release for the 20th anniversary edition of Saving Private Ryan. And this is amazing. This to me is one of my favorite 4K Ultra HD releases now. This is a prime example where it keeps its like initial integrity of like the grittiness and the graininess and the essentially dirtiness of war, that raw, but it also brings out the details of the clarity of it too. Some of the colors are richer. Definitely a big improvement over the Blu-ray. So this to me just kind of blew me away. I'm going to do another video talking about this more in depth, but I would highly recommend the 4K Ultra HD release for Saving Private Ryan. Definitely impressive. Some good special features in here too. And next up is an animated 4K Ultra HD release. This surprised me as a movie because one thing I'll say first off, let me preface this by saying Marvel kicks DC's butt for live action movies, but DC is putting out some really good animated movies. And this is one of the better ones that I've seen so far. Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, with kind of a different cast. Personally, I prefer this over the Suicide Squad live action movie. This is, darker themed, and one thing that was surprising, they kind of pushed the limits for the animation because you see a little nipple slip for one of the female characters in here. You see a little animated boobage action. I was kind of surprised by that. But you see people getting, shot in the head, holes in the head. So it's a violent animated movie, definitely not for kids. Some good special features in here too. One of the things that I like about a lot of these DC animated releases that they put out are the fact that they come with a lot of times animated TV show episodes and stuff like that. I don't think that was on here in this one, but they do have that for a lot of their releases. But basically they're looking for this card. They put the group together of the Suicide Squad members, and they're looking for this card that can basically get you out of hell. So if you get killed while you're holding the card, instead of going to hell, you go to heaven. And they're doing everything to find that. They're coming up with other people who are looking for it as well, including Zoom. That whole sequence with that character was pretty awesome. And I love the way that this plays out too. Again, you've got Deadshot, Killer Frost, Captain Boomerang, Copperhead, Harley Quinn, and Bronze Tiger are the ones here. I kind of wish they utilized Copperhead a little bit more. I thought he was a really cool, unique character. But yeah, as a movie, I would definitely recommend this one. The animation looked really good too. One of my favorites of the DC animated movies that I've seen so far. Next up is The Commuter, and this is directed by Jean-Colette Serra, and this is the 4th time he's worked with Liam Neeson. He also worked with him on Unknown, Nonstop, and Run All Night. And my 3 favorite Liam Neeson movies. Let me know what your favorite Liam Neeson movie is. I always think of Darkman, but I really liked Walk Among the Tombstones, which I think is very underrated, and then The Grey. Again, I love snowy setting movies. I'd like to see the Grey get a 4K Ultra HD release, but this had some good action here. He's worked with him so much, you kind of know what you're going to get yourself into for these kind of recent Liam Neeson movies with the action over the top at times. But it's a good kind of like action mystery movie. Some good thrills in here and some tension, and especially at the end, I like the way that it kind of came together. And I feel like John Coletzera likes to work with similar actors because he also worked with Vera Farmiga, who's in here on The Orphan. He directed The Orphan as well. He also directed the House of Wax remake, even though the Vincent Price one back in the day was a remake as well. But the House of Wax with Paris Hilton, which I actually really enjoy. I know that one gets a lot of criticism, but I thought it was entertaining. He also directed The Shallows. So that was another one, like I said before, that really brought me into 4K Ultra HD. It really made me appreciate it. But yeah, he's on this subway train after he gets fired, and he's, he has to put his son through college, and so he's kind of going through that turmoil of what is he going to do. I don't want to give too much away, but it's kind of a setup. But he is introduced to this character, Vera Farmiga, who basically offers him a lot of money to basically find a certain person on the subway that's not who they say they are. And there's more of a reveal toward the end of the movie about that character and their motivations too. This has a nice hollow foil. I don't know if it's really picking up on here, but when it catches the light, it's not really picking up too much. There's a little bit closer, you can see it, but really nice hollow foil effect on the slipcover. But yeah, I thought this was actually better than I was expecting it to be. I feel like I've watched a lot of these Liam Neeson ones, and sometimes it just seems to be going through the motions, the same old thing, kind of throw your mind out the door or out the window, kind of suspend disbelief. But this one was good tension, which I appreciated. Next up is Hostels. I friggin' loved this movie, and this was the first movie that I watched on my new 4K Ultra HD TV, which I'll be talking about in a future video. But I love the cast here: Christian Bale, Rosamund Pike, Wes Studi, who was Last Mohicans, one of my all-time favorite movies. I love the climax of that with the waterfall cliff scene. Rosamund Pike, she's been around for so long, been in a ton of movies. I remember her back in Doom with The Rock, and but I can't think of her now without thinking of Gone Girl. That was such an amazing performance for her. And Christian Bale is such an amazing actor. He's been around for like forever, since he was a kid too. American Psycho, Patrick Bateman, like he was made for that role. The Machinist is also one of my favorites from him. I feel like that doesn't get quite enough love. The performance that he put in there, the transformation for his body too, but an amazing actor. And this is directed by Scott Cooper, who did Out of the Furnace, which is one of my recent favorite movies, Crazy Heart, Black Mass. I think Johnny Depp should have gotten some Oscar recognition for his transformation and portrayal in Black Mass, but really enjoy Scott Cooper as a director. And this is a Western movie, and Christian Bale is playing this army captain who reluctantly is taking the Cheyenne war chief across this terrain to get him to his homeland. And he comes across other, I'm trying to remember, was it Comanches? Yeah, Comanche tribe who attacks them, and then other people who are attacking them too, and goes through the trials and tribulations. And Rosamund Pike, they come across her, and her family was just slaughtered in front of her by Comanches. So definitely some really good emotional aspect. I love the ending to this movie. Gritty, dirty, raw, great Western. Enjoy the performances big time here. And emotionally moving too. A lot of other good character actors that you recognized in here too. Ben Foster, who I love him as an actor, very underrated actor, especially in 30 Days of Night, where he was the stranger, but he always steals the show. I feel like he deserves to get more leading roles, but I would definitely recommend Hostels. Next up is Source Code, and this is directed by Duncan Jones, who did Moon, which I think Moon is very underrated, great sci-fi movie. And this is the 4K release for Source Code. I'm still looking forward to popping this one in and checking out on 4K. I have seen the movie. I do have the Best Buy exclusive lenticular slipcover edition. I'm looking forward to revisiting this one though. I remember enjoying the heck out of it. Good like sci-fi thriller action. I really like the cast here. Jake Gyllenhaal, Michelle Monaghan, Vera Farmiga. Vera Farmiga was also in The Commuter. She's been around for a long time, and it's great that she's getting her just due. I really liked her in The Departed, but she was in the Bates Motel TV show, and she kind of blew up there. Deservedly so. Great actress. But looking forward to revisiting this one in 4K. And next up are two movies that I have not seen, but I've heard everybody just go gaga over these ones and praise the heck out of them. Kingsman, The Secret Service, and The Golden Circle. I initially got this one, and everybody's telling me I have to watch this one first, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do like a marathon this coming up soon. Not a marathon, double feature. But yeah, I expect kind of like a younger, like, I don't know if he's a teenager or mid-20s or however old he's supposed to be. He looks like he's like 30-something right there, but I think he's supposed to be like a younger kid. There's wearing the baseball hat. That's what makes him younger right there. But like a younger kid version of James Bond, I guess. Tons of action and over-the-top action is what it looks like. Some good, character actors in here, supporting cast. Samuel Jackson, who's in everything. Michael Caine, Colin Firth. And this chick who has like a spike foot thing right there. But yeah, it looks like action overload. The sequel got some good characters in here too, good actors. Halle Berry, trying to see Julianne Moore. Jeff Bridges is in here too, Channing Tatum. Elton John is in here, holy moly. Mark Strong. So a ton of people in here. I'm looking forward to it. I've heard tons of great things. And next up is Daddy's Home 2. And I really wasn't a fan of the first one. I felt like the chemistry wasn't there between Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. And I know Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell have worked together in the past in the movie The Other Guys, which I wasn't a big fan of that one either. Maybe they should do a sequel to that. Maybe it'll be better than the first one, like Daddy's Home 2 is better than the original Daddy's Home. And really, they could make another one of these ones. I would actually watch a third one too, with different characters added in and different dynamics. Again, I thought this one was a lot of fun, way better than the first one. And their chemistry definitely seems a lot better here with Daddy's Home 2. They seem more comfortable and relaxed working together, and it definitely shows on screen, and that is a big selling point for this movie. And I felt like Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart had better chemistry with Get Hard, which I really enjoyed that one. But this to me was really funny, a really good Christmas comedy movie. And you've got the two dads right there now. Their fathers come in, so the grandparents. You've got John Lithgow and Mel Gibson, respectively. And I love all their interactions. The ending was a little weird, but I like John Cena in here too. I liked his role. This was just really entertaining to me, hilarious, a good time, and I feel like they didn't properly build this as a Christmas movie. I remember watching the trailers, I felt like that wasn't a big theme, but it is a Christmas movie. They all go away to this cabin and try to do the co-parenting thing, and obviously when you're in a small location like that, tensions kind of raise up. But I thought this was hilarious, and I would definitely recommend people to give it a fair chance, even if you didn't like the first one, because I wasn't a fan of the first one, and I think this one was so much better. Daddy's Home 2. Next up is Cloverfield and then 10 Cloverfield Lane. Definitely enjoyed both of these ones. This was a great kind of monster movie. And I love T.J. Miller, who I actually met him. It was the craziest stand-up comedy performance I've ever seen. He definitely seemed like he was on some stuff on stage. He was super wild and hyper. He broke a glass on stage, took some of the glass shards and put it into his new drink and started drinking out of it. He had like 6, I think it was like vodka Red Bulls on stage. Then afterwards, the whole green room smelled like Bob Marley. So it was just like a concoction of craziness, but he was so wild. Tons of energy on stage. And then my date and I were the only ones that got to meet him afterwards. We waited around, and they said he wasn't, the people that worked there, the one guy said he was crazy, couldn't deal with them, and that he wasn't going to come out and meet anybody. And I talked to one of the other opening act people, and I was like, because I had the Cloverfield steelbook for him to sign, and I asked him, would he sign this? And he went in there and asked him, and then T.J. Miller came out, took pictures and signed, and it was actually really nice. So sometimes you just have to give it a minute, but I love the heck out of Cloverfield. And then 10 Cloverfield Lane really surprised me too, and this was a great performance here too. From John Goodman, really blew me away, and I really like Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I like any movie that's kind of had like that claustrophobic feel when you're in like basically one location for a prolonged period of the movie, which is basically what this was. The majority of the movie was shot in like this underground bunker, and lots of paranoia. And I love the ending too. And I'm hoping that Cloverfield Paradox will get a 4K Ultra HD release. That was a Netflix one, and I love the way that they kind of like surprise you with these Cloverfield movies kind of out of nowhere. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we're releasing next week. By the way, I dig it. And this one surprised me too. I'm not a huge fan of this franchise, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, but I really enjoy the heck out of it. And I enjoy the lead actress in here, Kea Scodelario. She was in Tiger House. She's been in a bunch of stuff. Really enjoy her. I like the cast a lot here. There's a bunch of other recognizable people. Javier Bardem, But Jeffrey Rush, people who've been in some of the previous ones too. But of course Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow. But I like the effects in here. This one really popped on 4K Ultra HD, visually stunning, and that's one of the things I think they went. They kind of pushed the envelope for the effects, and then the action sequences and the different stunts and stuff like that. I thought some of them, the stunts were just amazing. This looked visually just so aesthetically appealing. Great clarity, details. I loved the look to this film, and I thought it was very entertaining too. Again, these are just fantasy action entertainment kind of. It's almost akin to comic book movies. I feel like you have to take it for what it is, popcorn entertainment. And this one has a nice hollow foil look to the slipcover. You can see that picking up right there. But I enjoyed this one much more than I thought I would. One of the better ones of the series for me. Next up is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I have not seen this on 4K Ultra HD as of yet, but I've heard terrible things. Greenish tint in certain scenes, haloing, waxy look. So I'm kind of disappointed. I feel like all of these Terminator 2 releases have issues. But I'm going to give it a fair chance and go in there with an open mind and see how it does compared to the previous Blu-ray releases. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day, fantastic movie. One of the classic sci-fi action movies. Next up is Prometheus, which I love this movie. This movie gets so much criticism, and I think it looks great on 4K Ultra HD, better than Alien Covenant in my opinion, and better movie overall too. Alien Covenant was kind of disappointing for me, but Prometheus, again, I think people were expecting like Alien Covenant-esque aspects where xenomorphs were just all over the place jumping around. That wasn't the case here, and I actually appreciate it for that aspect. It kind of creates its own world, and people complain about the actions of some of the characters, that it was, that their actions were stupid. Alien Covenant, all of their actions seemed pretty dumb, but to me, I feel like there's like a couple things you can nitpick with that aspect, but that's like maybe 2 scenes really, and it's whatever. People like to nitpick and complain, but I love this film and I love this release for it too. Some good special features in here, and I thought it looked amazing on 4K Ultra HD. Again, great clarity, deeper darks. I love the look of the blues all in here too. The blues and the blacks really pop, but love the heck out of this one. And I love the scene too, where the operation scene towards the end too. That looked much better to me in 4K Ultra HD. Next up is Warm Bodies. This is essentially a zom-com, kind of a zombie version of Romeo and Juliet. And Teresa Palmer, so friggin' stunning. Oh my gosh. But a very talented actress too. But you've got some other well-known people in here. I'm trying to find Rob Cardroy, who I think is a really talented writer. Not as great actor, but he was good here. And you got Nicholas Hoult in the lead, and Dave Franco, Annalee Tipton, John Malkovich. That's the guy I was looking for. John Malkovich is the father in here. Not his father, but the actress's father, lead actress in here. And I just thought this was really entertaining. I love the comedy elements. It's one of the things that I appreciate is they even mentioned they don't know if it's a zombie outbreak or infection, which I feel like there's a big difference between a zombie movie and an infected movie. Like 28 Days Later is an infected movie. In fact, they say the rage virus was, the cause of it. So not a zombie movie for 28 Days Later. And a lot of people just lump them together because there are similarities, but zombies are the dead coming back to life. Infected are, you don't have to be dead to infect people. So I know there's similarities, but I still think there's a distinct difference. And this one, to me, is very entertaining. Even though on the back they do say it's greatest zombie love story ever told, but in the movie they actually say they don't know if it's a virus or zombie outbreak or whatever. But again, I thought this one got a lot of criticism too, but I thought it was entertaining. I do like Teresa Palmer a lot, and nice to look at. And I thought the comedic elements were something that I really liked. And the soundtrack too, great soundtrack. Next up is Warrior, which I friggin' love this film. This is kind of like our generation's Rocky. And I like the cast in here too. Tom Hardy, Joel Edgerton, Nick Nolte, who Nick Nolte was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Really good performance here. But Tom Hardy is amazing. I really liked him in Bronson. I feel like that one doesn't get quite enough recognition as it deserves to. One of the better performances from him, in my opinion, better movies from him too. But I really like him as an actor when he plays these kind of brooding roles. But yeah, just a great, emotionally moving fight film. And I love the score in here too, the soundtrack too, good special features. Highly recommend the heck out of this movie if for some reason you haven't seen it. Again, kind of Rocky-esque. Next up are the Harry Potter movies from Warner Brothers. They put the last 4 out first, and then they put out the first 4 years. I have to say I was never a big fan of Harry Potter. I haven't checked out these ones out in 4K Ultra HD yet, but I did check out some of the later ones, in fact, first. So I'll have to, the younger, like the earlier roles, I don't know, just maybe I wasn't young enough to fully appreciate them. I don't know, he's doing the Quidditch and riding around the broomsticks and stuff like that. To me, it was like cringy almost. But the later ones that I saw, I actually did appreciate. And I know people complained about me watching them out of sequence. I remember when I first saw the first scenes from the earlier ones, I was like, oh my gosh, how is this popular? But, I'm going to give it a fair chance. Give it, maybe that I'm older, my tastes have, cultivated and changed. But I'll be checking these ones out in 4K Ultra HD, and I'm going to watch them in the order that they were released. Maybe I'll do like a full marathon and watch all 8 films. But we've got Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. We've got Harry Potter and Chamber of Secrets. And Harry Potter and Prisoner of Azkaban. And then we've got Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So there we go. Let me know if you're a Harry Potter fan. If so, what is your favorite Harry Potter movie? Am I the only one out there who's not a big Harry Potter fan? I feel like it. Like I always hear, especially girls, like every girl I know loves Harry Potter. But I don't know. I'm going to give it a fair, rewatch and chance and check them all out. Again, I watched the last 4 on 4K Ultra HD, but I haven't checked these ones out yet in 4K Ultra HD. There you go. There is the stack of 4Ks right there, 19 titles in total. And if you've seen any of these, let me know what you think of them right there, and which one of these is your favorite, and let me know which 4K or which movie you'd like to see on 4K Ultra HD in the future. Leave me a comment or video response down below. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care.